Hello everyone. Today is December 9th. We're getting closer to Christmas. Yay. I guess some people love Christmas. I used to like it a lot. It's a little bit commercially now. So it is December 9th and you are visiting the Duchess of Unicorn YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping in to check out this video. I always say I want to make a quick video. My dog's barking. You might hear him, but sorry about that. He wants to go out. So I want to do a brief video. I came across this on IBT, ibttimes.com, and it's Meghan Markle's creepy, obsessed with emulating Harry's mother, Princess Diana. And it was from November 12th this year, written. And I just wanted to touch upon that. You know, no matter how much Meghan, in my opinion, tries to emulate in a creepy way, whatever, Princess Diana, she will never be Princess Diana. And I will underline that, an exclamation point that, by saying, especially the way that she has behaved so far, or the way that she's portrayed as behaving so far. I've read several titles on various internet public domains that say, Meghan is, a terrible person because of her perceived behavior or character. Now, I don't know her. I'm only interpreting what I read online, and most of it isn't good. The only good that I find that you can come across is mainly like fluffy pieces, like entertainment stuff, like Ellen DeGeneres says the baby has tufts of red hair. I don't know, things like that. Or Meghan Markle's people, like the social media people that follow her, that are their pages are named after her. Their screen names are named Meghan Sparkles or Sparkly Meghan or whatever, 92571, whatever. It's only her followers, the people that are obsessed with her for some strange reason. And although I have favorite celebrities and people that I follow too, and sometimes it is because they're just so awesome. They're so beautiful. They're so well put together. They're so caring. They do things that I think are reminiscent of somebody that has respect and grace. I just don't feel that at this point, at this juncture in Meghan's royal life, that she is graceful or that she's even authentic. I feel like I, myself, would never really know how to enter into a royal family, A. B, I don't know what stresses that woman has to deal with being a quote-unquote commoner and marrying into a family of utter privilege. And I don't know how they treat her. I couldn't begin to assume I know the pressures that she's under. So I think anyone would be affected in an ill way at some point, coming from the outside in, and going from kind of wealthy, kind of, having, millionaire, having $1 million or $1.2 million, whatever, or 5 million, whatever she was making from her show. After all practically her whole adult career, life has been trying to attain celebrity status as a well-known actress, and being 30-something and just having to bail on that because she's pushing towards 40 or already was 40. I don't know. There's been claims that she's either 35 or 45, somewhere in that range, because actresses, or actors, I should say, often don't reveal their age, especially women, because there's such pressure with aging in Hollywood, in acting in general. So I don't begin to know, what it's like to go from having to take care of yourself and your own finances and building your own life or lifestyle to meeting somebody and marrying into their family and their royalty, British royalty. I don't know what that really means, British royalty, because for me, it's just a bloodline. It would be more interesting to know where the bloodline goes to, how far back. Like if we're talking about, Jesus's time, or pre-Jesus's time, then the royal family becomes much more interesting, right? But when you're just talking about preserving your culture and the race that you are, and that's not just the royal family, that's many, many old blood families. And then we have to look at the British royal family attain their wealth. How so? Because let's not ever forget that they colonized, which means they took and through war or whatever, took over other races, other ethnicities, their countries, their provinces, their countries, and they are, a commonwealth, which means a bunch of countries they own. And so that means if they own the country, then they own the people of the country. Let's get that clear. I mean, just cut through the red tape. They actually own every single social security number is a tag number for every person that they are responsible for, which is the members of their commonwealth, their countries that they've taken over. So I wouldn't even know how Meghan feels day to day. Let's think about it for a second. Let's put aside the creepy obsessed, Meghan's creepily obsessed with, what have you. So someone says, right? Let's just talk about marrying into a family with immense wealth and power in another whole country. And what does that mean for you? Like, how many friends do you think that she really has on the inside of the palace walls? Really? If she doesn't bring somebody in that she trusts and admires and she knows is, without a doubt her side of the coin, being her confidant, her friend, someone that she knows won't change with the seasons or the money or the reasons. Couldn't fathom being her, because it's bad enough for any general public person to trust anyone in their own circle, in their own lives. Think about your own circumstances out there. Your friend's friend, or your family member you're not doing well with, or your job, or your neighborhood, or your household. Think about how many people you don't trust because they've given you reason not to trust them, perhaps, but you don't have a rapport with them. Well, imagine going from not poor, but going from a working person who never fathomed that they would be married into actual old money, royalty, a royal bloodline, going into that family. And I'm thinking, who the hell really likes her or trusts her? First of all, she's the wrong mix of person. And this is my personal opinion. And again, all my content is found on a public domain. I'm only using fair use and fair dealing guidelines for the United States and UK. So I'm not trying to step on anybody's feet, or I'm not trying to force my opinion on anybody. I'm just sharing my view that who could she really trust? This is for entertainment purposes, but who can she really trust? And if she could trust somebody, do you think that every single day she can continue thinking she can trust somebody? I mean, the walls have eyes and ears. Let's be real. So I don't envy her. Now, the other side of that is Meghan had, when she looks back at her normal life, she might have said her everyday life that she thought was the best life she could live, she might have looked and went, and the scales got tipped real fast as soon as Harry was in her sights. Since he's the last available, eligible bachelor from the royal family, that's of age, he was kind of it. It was like beeline. And I mean, when you think about it, if you have something in common with somebody and you're both ready in your life to make another move, in other words, marriage or some serious commitment, then yeah, two people could potentially go forward together. And sometimes other things, get in the way, like the newness of it and how different he is, because she probably never has met anybody like him. It's not every day you meet someone that's raised from a baby to, who's a prince, and so although he might be approachable and all this, maybe they had something in common and they had a bond. However, on the flip side of that is that doesn't mean Meghan knew going forward what it was like to come from one threshold and step into another threshold of immense wealth and power. And I wonder, because I can't be sure myself, if knowing that immense wealth and power is within your vicinity and that you have access to it, which that's what it means, that you yourself wouldn't change. Like, I don't know that Meghan didn't change because of the immense wealth and power. And of course, you have to have that inkling within you to be kind of someone that's weak, and that you'll kneel to that and you'll be like, yeah, I'm really wealthy and I just don't care about anybody and I've made it and I don't care how I made it and that's all that matters and I'm going to act this way now. Sometimes you don't even know you're acting a certain way until it's too late. You've already done damage. And so I can't say that if I became from my normal everyday life to another life, I don't know that I wouldn't get jaded and, realize the power and the money, and I don't just trip on it, just doesn't go to my head. So with that said, I don't really also know that a lot of these stories that are coming out aren't placed by somebody, fabricated, or, embellished at least. I don't know if Meghan herself hasn't put a lot of this stuff out. I mean, these lawsuits that she's doing and Harry's doing, it'd be interesting to see if anything can come through the grapevine in terms of they're already saying that Meghan had leaked things and, she put things out there like letters and stuff. And now that it went the wrong way, she now wants to sue and say it wasn't this, it wasn't that. And maybe she knew that all along. My point I'm making is that none of us really know who's making the stories up, if the stories are made up, if they're embellished, and if she isn't feeling like victimized in terms of she might be a strong woman, but still, imagine getting up in the royal family and you don't know who in there. She has nobody else. She doesn't have another brown person next to her. She doesn't have another brown person saying, hey, I've known you since you were 10. You're my good buddy. And I'm going to make sure I'll look out for you. Don't worry, I've got the scoop. I'm sure there's lots of people that she's dealing with day to day and they're telling her something or she's telling them something and they both part ways and who knows what the other person's thinking and who knows what Meghan's thinking. Maybe Meghan's thinking like, I'm going to mess your day up today. Or maybe she's thinking nothing at all like that and the other person's thinking that. So my point is, we don't know on the outskirts here who the heck she has to deal with every day inside the royal family or even in the realm, even staff. All we know is what comes out to the public. And I will say that what comes out to the public is very is very interesting because all you can do is see how often these stories come out and then what stories rise to the top and stay at the top over and over and over again. Meaning, like, if someone's saying that Thomas Markle raised Meghan Markle and he gave his $1 million winnings mostly to her schooling, and he volunteered at her school, and teachers come forward and friends come forward, neighborhood people come forward, and everybody's kind of, the majority is saying similar stories in his favor, then you have to think majority rules, and that all you could do is wait for time to pass and see if any of these stories are retracted or people found to be liars. And that means, 100 people have to be lying, or half of those people, in order to make it be, faulty. So most of the stories are in Meghan's dad's favor. The other part of the family, I don't know, but I can see that there's a lot of stories about Meghan Markle's dad. Doesn't mean he's perfect, but means that everybody's showing up saying, I have receipts. I have receipts, and they're people, just random people, from teachers who are at Meghan's school to, whomever. And you just have to deal with it and kind of let things come out in the wash, so to speak. But this article here says Markle's family tree, the interesting family background of the Duchess of Sussex. Yeah, so the Duke of Sussex family is one of the most renowned around the world. I don't know why. Who knows why? For many reasons. Look into the royal family history and you'll see why they're renowned. Yeah, I remember when in this article they're saying BBC Radio 4 interview, the royal family was the family I suppose she's never had. This is what Prince Harry said. It's the family I suppose she's never had. And then how this quote just tanked. Basically, 2 years later, this, or a year later or so, this quote has tanked. The family I suppose she's never had. So Meghan, from on the outskirts of the royal family, in the tabloids, in the media, we see that Meghan really doesn't have any relationship developed with anybody in the royal family. You haven't seen Meghan and any royal family member really getting it on, like really forming a friendship. Again, going back to what I said previously. If you see these stories in the media and they keep rising to the top, and they do that over time and they stay at the top, in other words, they're consistent with their storyline in terms of what's being reported, like Meghan is good friends with Kate, and that stays on the storyline, and you see all the different things they're doing together, and you see them in interviews together, and you see them going places together, and that's through time, over time, and it still rises to the top that way, then you can basically say majority rules, and you can assume, fairly well that it is vaguely true. In other words, they do get along enough, because I don't think anybody could be paid any amount of money when you're already wealthy to have to deal with someone you don't like and do not want to deal with. So Kate can't be bought, paid, or made to hang out with Meghan Markle for an extended period of time just because she's told to. Yes, once or twice, here and there, sprinkled across the oceans of time, but in the essence, no. Probability, they cannot make Kate spend time with someone that she really loathes. So you're not seeing anybody in the royal family really hanging out with Meghan on a consistent basis over time. In other words, one article saying they did an interview together, or then a picture over here, and then this over here. It's always Meghan on her own. It's always Meghan with Harry, and maybe one or two pictures thrown in, sprinkled in, of Kate and her showing up to the same event. Nobody's buying it. Now, I don't really think it's even interesting about her history, except her mother's family lineage goes to, I think, slavery, American slavery, I believe. And Thomas Markle, his side of the family goes to actually England itself. And I think one of his ancestors were in the British court, like in the royalty court, a lord, a judge, I don't know, so you can look that up. I've seen that somewhere. I just didn't know I'd need to bring it up today, or I would have had that. But yeah, I mean, it's even her father is the one that is really, if you look at bloodlines, it's his blood that ties her to the British royal family going back in their ancestry. Whereas Doria, her ancestry is in the Americas, as far as I could remember reading. I had found that online months and months ago, and that her lineage is from American slavery. So her ancestors were slaves, basically, is what I'm saying. So she's not the she's not the bloodline that's tied to royalty. Her father is. So it makes us wonder. Now, I just thought of something. So his family is tied to the British somehow and royalty. But I wonder if it was because I know there's been talks of the British monarchy being not exactly who they are. So in other words, the real British lineage fell away. There's plenty of YouTube videos on it, so check that out if you can. Just punch in like British royal family lineage, or the current British monarchy is not the real monarchy. And then you'll see like there's some discrepancies about I can't remember his name. I want to say John, but I don't think it is. But there was a king who died, and they just recently resurrected his body. They found his bones. They did DNA sampling on him, and he has a lineage for the monarchs, but he was supposed to be a king, but he doesn't have the same DNA as the current, that doesn't trace back to the current monarchy. So there seems to be like some window there that is questionable. And, who knows, way back in the day, one monarchy could have killed another or lied about the baby of somebody and the lineage is broken, so I don't know, or didn't know about the lineage and it was broken, and then somebody else came in and assumed. It happens all the time, especially when countries conquer other countries or individuals conquer other individuals. So since I'm in America, I'm just going to digress on that. But I do know that it's very easily searchable that Thomas Markle, his lineage, his ancestry goes back to the British royal family. Like somebody in his family, his ancestor was in the court, the royal court. So something to think about there, and how they never let just anybody into the royal family because the bloodline would never really be pure. So we always just have to remember that. So you can't really not like Meghan, but you can't really love Meghan. Like, in other words, you can't really be so fond of her just because she's attractive. A lot of people wear makeup and concealer and highlighter. That doesn't mean you're more beautiful than somebody else. I've seen a lot more women more attractive and more youthful than Miss Markle. So that shouldn't be a determination why you like her. It should really be about her character first, and everything else just kind of falls into place naturally. So I just feel like, I think prior to her marriage, she was more authentic. And I'll say it and say it and say it again. She was more authentic when she before she was married. It's when she got married, I think there's so many tremendous pressures and so many things that can come into play out of your own personality that you can really change. And if you do change something like that, you kind of don't know what you end up being. So, what do you end up being? You know, maybe the if your character wasn't solid before, and even if it was, when you come into enormous wealth, into enormous stress, into, you know, power that you would have never thought that you'd have access to, and that you're the only person in the country from your entire family, and there you are amongst everybody else who is similar, well, how would you react? You don't know if you'd play a game. You don't know if you'd become unkind or let everything go to your head. You don't know if someone's helping it go to your head so that you self-destruct. You don't know that that person is the bad guy or the good guy in this case. So, I mean, nothing for me, I couldn't do it because you would never know. The walls have ears and eyes. And it's said that Meghan has this diary and that the royal family know that she has this diary and they're very leery of her. You can find that on blindgossip.com. And you can, I mean, it doesn't necessarily pin and say Meghan, but it says this actress is married to this royal family, you know. So it goes into this descriptive that's in the news. So go and read it and see if you think that's Meghan. But according to that, there could be a diary and the royal family knows about it and they could be very upset and untrustworthy, and that's why she started to wind up perhaps on the outside instead of the inside. We don't know. Nor do we care. It's just conversations we're having of my opinion. I'd like to just click on this Daily Mail article online. Again, I'm in America. And it says, exclusive. Meghan Markle uses break from royal duties to team up with her old Hollywood PR guru on plans for raising tens of millions for her and Harry's charity. Oh, no. Well, I want to say just one thing about that. Raising money for your charity is not wrong at all. But I'd like to see, after anything that you're doing to raise money for your charity that you created, which it's always good to help people, but who benefits from the charity? Who's going to be privy to that stream of income from the charity? Is it a nonprofit? Because that's what you think of when you think of charity. Or is it for profit where you can still take money from the charity? You can take money from a charity, I think, even when it's not for profit, because you have an active duty, whether you're being paid as the director or the CEO, whatever. But I would have thought there's a board of directors, and I didn't think that board of directors get paid. But maybe they do, and maybe that's a lesson we should talk about in another video. How is a charity set up? And maybe that'll help all of us understand a little bit more. But for me, when you have a charity, I like to know where the money is where are those funds being funneled off to? What outside organization besides your own other charities or your work for the British monarchy, where is your money going to in this charity? Is it going to your homes, your private vacations, your jewelry? Is it going, I just want to know, is it benefiting some individual or some organization who's not affiliated with you and they're not on the payroll? That's what I want to know. So this should be interesting. She's back to her old Hollywood people, and she had a PR guru, which that guru wasn't that great because none of us knew who she was. None of us in the world outside of Suits and that USA channel, which I can't remember watching since I was like 18. And I don't want to say how old I am, but I'm over 40. So what? What PR guru? Maybe she's going to be a guru now because her job's going to be really easy because someone's mega rich, mega well known, and, you know, a biracial commoner marrying Prince Harry is a pretty easy job to help people come around to opening their purses if they have that money, and also for people to do favors in terms of how you're going to get publicity out. So I don't know how that guru really works, but I think that remains to be seen. And if she was a guru before, I'm thinking how come I didn't know her? I current events and pop culture are fun to look into, and I would have known about her, and I didn't hear about her until Prince Harry. All right, well, you can go to Daily Mail, of course, yourself and check on this. It was posted today, I believe. So we guess we're going to hear more from the celebrity side, the Hollywood side of everything that's Meghan Markle. And by the way, we're not hearing anything really great Harry is doing. We're not really hearing about Harry. And maybe because I'm not British and I don't know about, you know, the British culture per se, but maybe Harry didn't really do that much in the first place outside of Invictus, because everybody has that. But outside of that, maybe we just don't know in America all the other things he does. I'm sure he does a lot, but we're not hearing about it. And that doesn't make him look that great either. And really, it seems that Meghan's name is everywhere and Prince Harry is secondary. So who is the royal? Who is the real born royal? All right, everybody, thank you for taking time to come to the Duchess of Unicorn YouTube page, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.